Yes, geezers, what's going on, Specie? And we're looking at the Datamined cards. We've got a bunch to look through. These are hot off the press, brand new, and this is my live reaction. Make sure you're subscribed because I've got some banging Series 3 decks, which I got to Infinite today on day 1, ranked 200 in the world right now. All right, Valentina, on reveal, add a random 6 cost card to your hand, give it -2 cost and -2 power. Okay, this is a really difficult card to evaluate. Already, I'm thinking Galactus, but of course, if you think about how many 6 cost cards there are in Marvel Snap, there's a lot of them. So your odds of getting a specific one are very low, but you could hit cards like Infinite, for example. You could hit cards like Giganto, and if you hit like a Giganto, for example, then your Valentina is going to be a 2-statted card. The Giganto would come through at 12 points for 4, so you're playing a total of 14 points for 6, which is pretty good. So it does, but it's not. That's obviously a bit of a high roll. You would have to say Giganto is going to be better than average, but if you hit something like an Eliath, could be really exciting. Of course, this also could provide you with some ramp strategies. You could go Valentina and then Storm on 3 to then have a big card to play into your Storm location. Of course, there's some other synergy there as well with cards like Collector. Quinjet as well would also be reduced in the cost. You could play this in a Loki deck as well, because then if you miss Loki, and in fact Valentina sounds very good in Loki. If you miss Loki, you have a good card to play on turn 4, and if you do have Loki and Valentina gives you something rubbish that you're not interested in, like a Spectrum for example, then that would be pretty good. So it seems like a nice card for Loki, a very interesting one. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you think on each card. I don't think this card looks spectacular, but it looks interesting. All right, I'm really excited. These are my live reactions. I hope you enjoy it too. We've got Widow's Kiss next. Ongoing. What is this? Okay, White Widow. There we go. It's a 2 cost card with 2 power. On reveal, add a 1 power, a -1 power Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side here. Oh my goodness. And Widow's Kiss says ongoing, your other cards here have -1 power. Wait, what? So you add a -1 power Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side. What? This card seems absolutely insane. So you're giving them a -1, which is also working in a similar way to a Soulstone. So if they have 3 other cards there, they're going to have... This Widow's Kiss is going to be playing for a total of, well, 4 points for you, plus the White Widow, which is 6 points. But the fact that it's another clog card, a lot of people call it junk, really good. This card is really, really powerful. Junk decks which aren't using Annihilus are already something I'm a big fan of. And this is going to be a great addition to those decks with Daredevil and Green Goblin on turn 5 with Titania. That is going to be an absolute lethal combination. I think this card looks really powerful, I have to say. I like the look of this one a lot. Oh, I'm excited for this one. Oh, baby. That's a good card. Okay, USA Agent up next, or US Agent, whatever it is, or is it USA Gent? I guess it's USA Gent. So many options. 2 energy, 6 power. That is a lot of power. I don't think there's any card which costs 2 energy and is more than 5. Oh, there's Maximus. Maximus is a 2 energy card with 6 power, so let's compare it to Maximus. This has an ongoing ability, -1 power for each of your other cards here. So USA Agent looks like it could be good with Spectrum. It looks like it could be good with Zero. It looks very good with Sauron. In fact, it very much looks like a card aimed at Sauron decks. And that's pretty interesting. Nice to see some cards that have that synergy with Zero and Sauron. So this should make the card in those Shuri decks. Not the most exciting card though, I have to say. But it looks decent. I'm not really that enthralled by it. I'm not a big Sauron fan, so... Red Hulk, probably on the thumbnail. 6 power, sorry, 6 energy, 10 power. So a new 6 energy card is always exciting. When your opponent, and this is probably a season pass card, I don't know that for sure. In the comments, I will let you know if we have confirmation if any of these are a season pass card. At the moment, there's no info on that. But it's a 6 energy card, and it will sell a lot of season passes, so I imagine it will be. And it's 10 power. When your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy, plus 4 power if in hand or in play. Wow, so this is like similar to High Evo Hulk, but of course slightly different. So if your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy, for example turn 1, your Red Hulk is already 14 points. That seems very good. Of course, you have to have Red Hulk in hand, and you only have 4 cards in your opening hand. So 33% of the time, 1/3 of the time, if your opponent skips turn 1, your Red Hulk is already chilling at 14 points. It looks like a pretty decent card in Lockjaw decks. It looks like a very decent card with Dracula, for example. Some Dracula hand dump with things like Black Knight. It looks like a good card. It's not quite at the levels of Blob, but it's really quite good. Quicksilver meta incoming. Quicksilver Domino to counter Red Hulk. No, those cards still suck. But this card looks very good. All you need is your opponent to skip 1 turn. What with this in hand, and it's already playing for 14, which is pretty damn good. It's like a Giganto in any location. Yeah, I think this card's good. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, we have Baron Zemo. This is so exciting. 4 energy, Zabu alert. 6 power. On reveal, add the lowest cost card from your opponent's deck here on your side. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. On average, you're pulling a 1 energy card, of course. So if you pull something like a Nightcrawler, this is thinning your opponent's deck. It's important to remember, increasing the odds of them finding their higher cost cards, which might not be a problem for them. You could hit something like the Hammer from Thor as well, which again is denying them points. But most likely you're hitting something like a Nightcrawler, a Sunspot, a Nebula. So it's probably playing for about 8+ points on average, which is about standard for a 4 cost card. You're looking for a little bit more than 8. You've got cards like Crossbones, Jessica Jones that play for like 8 or 9 points. So I don't think this card looks spectacular. Of course, Baron Zemo becomes a lot better if you pull something more than a 1-drop. So if there's any way of thinning your opponent's deck, perhaps with cards like Baron Mordo, but it's not really going to do it. It's not going to consistently pull a low value card. I think this card looks okay, but not spectacular. Perhaps you might be needing to combo this with something like an Absorbing Man or an Odin or something along those lines to really get the value. Wong as well. You wouldn't really want to play it in Wong with Wong either, because you're taking up too much space in your Wong location. I have to say, I don't love the look of this card. I think it looks pretty mid, and mid cards in Marvel Snap are often not very good because you can just pick any 12 cards. I don't think this card looks great. I would say it's the weakest of the cards so far. All the other cards look pretty reasonable. I don't think this one is very good. I think it's okay, but again, an okay card in Marvel Snap is probably not very good. Red Guardian, 3 energy, 4 power. This is the last new card, and then there's 2 changes to cards which got leaked last month. It's 3 energy and 4 power. On reveal, remove the text of the lowest power enemy card here. Okay, so it's another on reveal. So that's pretty interesting. Remove the text of the lowest power enemy card here. So it's a disruption card, which is pretty interesting. It's the lowest power, so you could remove the text of Sunspot. 4 power for 3 energy is not a lot, I have to say. I guess the question is, how high impact is this going to be as like a finisher? This card looks very interesting. It looks quite clunky though, right? It does look rather clunky. I don't love the look of it, I have to say. I think it's lacking in a little bit of power and a little bit of consistency. Then again, Zabu. Your opponent plays Zabu on turn 2. You could play Red Guardian, but then your opponent's already got their Zabu value. They've already played like a 4-cost card on turn 3. Meanwhile, you're playing a 3-cost card, and a pretty bad one at that, on turn 3. And it isn't on reveal, so it's not like you could kind of preemptively predict like where their Dark Hawk goes. But having said that, if you think about the standard curve of a Marvel Snap deck, they might go like a Korg on turn 1, a Zabu on turn 2, a Dark Hawk on turn 3, and then you could try to Red Guardian their Dark Hawk, for example. It seems okay. It seems interesting. I have to say, I don't love the look of it. I think it's lacking in a stat. If it had 5 more power, I would be a lot more interested in it. So overall, on the new cards, Valentina looks like a very good card in Loki. Very, very good in Loki. White Widow is the one I'm excited about most. This is my kind of card. I think this card looks really, really powerful, actually. Really powerful. This card looks nuts. USA Agent or USA Gent looks kind of okay, but a bit boring. Red Hulk looks great. Baron Zemo looks meh. And Red Guardian looks good. So definitely most interested in Widows, White Widow, and Red Hulk, as well as also Valentina gets a shout out. And let's look at the balance changes. Hope Summers, I'll write in the comments exactly what she was before. This is the next season pass card that's coming up, right? She's 3 energy, 3 power. After you play a card here, you get +1 energy next turn. This card still seems nuts. This is the Season Pass card coming up in a month, and it does look like one of those Season Pass cards which you're not going to want to miss out on. So you could play Hope Summers on turn 3, and then you could also, for example, play a Wasp alongside your Hope Summers, and then I think before she might have been max energy, you know. I'm just going to completely reevaluate this card and forget about what she used to do. I'll write it in the comments below. Hope Summers, 3 energy, 3 power. After you play a card here, you get +1 energy next turn. So you can only play 3 cards into her location, and that also would mean that going into turn 6, you're filled up. So you probably only want to be playing 2 cards into Hope Summers' location. So you play a card there on turn 4 and a card there on turn 5. So you play a card there on turn 4, and then on turn 5, you can play a 6-drop. That's pretty good value, but she is only 3 stats. Now, another thing to consider is that you can play her with Silver Surfer. So if you were to play a card on turn 4, she's a Silver Surfer card. If you play her on turn 4, sorry, on turn 3, and then you play a card into her location on turn 4, on turn 5, suddenly you can play 2 3-drops, which is what you really want to be doing with a Silver Surfer deck, rather than playing a 2-drop and a 3-drop, rather than playing a Sarah. Particularly now there's this this new card which disables Sarah pretty hard. I can't remember her name. She came out today. But yeah, Hope Summers definitely looks like a Silver Surfer card. Will it make the cut? It's an interesting decision. I don't actually know if this card looks that good to me anymore. When she was revealed before, this card looked like the absolute nuts. It definitely looks interesting. Is she good enough in Surfer? So if you play a card into her location on turn 5 as well, so you play one of the 3-drops that you find on turn 5, on turn 6, you're then going to have 7 energy, which I don't think is particularly important. So in a Silver Surfer deck, she's allowing you to play an extra 3-drop earlier, which I don't think seems that good. So actually, I don't think she seems that good in Silver Surfer. Instead, she's like an unorthodox ramp card comparable to Electro. So maybe you play some kind of Electro deck with Hope, with cards like the Jubilee. At the moment, Electro decks play Wave as well, and they don't tend to play 4-cost cards like Iron Lad and Jubilee. But some kind of Electro deck with Hope, Jubilee, maybe Iron Lad in the mix, seems like it could be pretty reasonable. I think that's the best fit I can see for her at the moment. I don't think she makes the cut in Silver Surfer, the more I think about it. Let me know in the comments about this one. Very interested to see what you will think. Galactus is definitely an obvious thought, right? So definitely Electro with Hope and Galactus. Pixie, I was very worried about this card. Let's have a look. It was a 1-cost card with 2 stats, I believe. Now it's a 2-cost card with 1 stat, so a huge nerf. On reveal, shuffle the costs of all cards in your deck that started there. Whoo! Okay, this card got gutted. I think the energy stats changed, but the big change, certainly in the ability, is that all cards that started there, which of course means it's not working with the Thanos stones, which was everybody's big concern. The big concern was that you play Pixie and a Thanos deck, and suddenly your Hulk swaps power and provisions with a stone. So it's no longer a Thanos card, which is really interesting. So what will Pixie be played in? That is the question. Well, you could still play it in Lockjaw potentially, but I kind of doubt it. You want to be playing Pixie in a deck with lots of big cards still and trying to cheat them out. So you could still look at playing Jubilee, for example. Even if Jubilee costs 6, if she's 12 power, that could be pretty good. So I think you're probably looking to go high value with Pixie, lots of big cards. It also isn't going to work with Thor or any kind of card like that, but Wasp, Yellow Jacket, definitely look interesting with Pixie still and some big cards, and then she's going to be a little bit more of a high roll. Perhaps you could then play her in a Loki deck as well, because if you hit bad stuff with Pixie, if you draw bad cards, you can just replace them with Loki. And if they're good, then you can just play them. So that's kind of interesting. I could see that, a Yellow Jacket Wasp Loki deck, maybe with Pixie. This one's definitely one to ponder and think about. Let me know in the comments below. And then finally, the patch notes. Big shout out to my friend Braude, by the way, who posted all these data mines. Oh, look at this. There's also a couple of flipping spoilers for the new locations. Castle Zemo. The first card you play here switches sides. Okay. That seems pretty good for a junk deck. Being able to put a hood down onto Castle Zemo in particular seems good. Thunderbolt's Tower. After turn 5, give all cards here 2 power. Isn't this like already a location? This is like flipping... This is like the flipping card that just buffs Stark Tower. After turn 5, give all cards here 2 power. What am I missing? Is this just not Stark Tower? Huh? Maybe your Stark Tower's getting reworked? Also, big shout out to my friend Braude. He's my boy. Looks like Second Dinner added a new feature to see the power of at least some ongoings in hand. Okay. So at the moment, there's like this Dracula deck, which is consuming null. And it's pretty toxic and shouldn't really work that way, in my opinion. So it looks like some kind of change that's probably going to impact that Dracula null interaction as well. So it's showing the cards in hand. All right. The season image for April. Baron Zemo is actually the season pass card confirmed. I'm surprised because this card looks kind of bad. How curious. I wouldn't be that surprised if this ends up getting buffed. So the next season pass card is Hope Summers. And I think she got nerfed since her original Datamined. I have a feeling that Baron Zemo might get buffed because this card does not look good to me. It does not look good to me at all, but perhaps there's something I'm missing. Let me know what you guys think. Taskmaster, Baron Zemo, Abomination is the season pass card for April. We've got Hope Summers coming in next month. All right. I don't love the variants either, I have to say. This looks like a swerve of a season pass, which you know what that means. This card's going to be OP on release. They're going to adjust it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. Would be really interested in all your ratings down below on these new cards. See you very soon, because there's lots of epic deck guides coming soon. Bye!